Where the chanting started from is when we'd have these great teachings, and because the monks there weren't any books in those days, and because there were no CDs and iPods and internet, the only way you could access those things is remembering them. So the monks would actually remember them by chanting them again and again and again, so they became memorized word for word. And then that was their books, their memory. And that's where the chanting came from. And of course, some of those chanting, they did have power, because they had power to inspire, they had power to reveal the truth, and that's where they got their great energy. And these days, sometimes the chanting is just ritual. Sometimes I joke, there's going to be a marriage here tomorrow. When the people get married, we chant sometimes in party. They don't know what we're chanting. We could be chanting like the funeral chants during the marriage. We wouldn't do that except by mistake. And you wouldn't know at all, would you? But we never do that. But it's great if we understand what the chanting is. But it does have power because it can inspire us. But no, the real reason why we chant, that's just jokes about chanting, is again just to remind us of the teachings of the Buddha. Because some of the chants we do, some of the ones I learn, when I chant, I know exactly what these chants mean. And they're really, really inspiring. And sometimes you chant and you pause for a while where you reflect on these are teachings of the Buddha, and they're very, very deep. And they're very profound. And that's why sometimes I chant, I can cry when I chant, they're just so inspiring. So when we do chanting, please don't chant unless you know what it means. Otherwise, what are you doing it for? It's just empty ritual, and that's not what Buddhism is all about at all. So we do this chanting, sometimes. I know sometimes that you see people actually lighting joss sticks and actually lighting candles. We always have some joss sticks or candles, and what are they for? We do those. This is a tradition of actually offering again worship with candles, incense, and sometimes flowers. Fair enough, because the candles are always a symbol of wisdom, like light shows the way in the darkness. The incense was actually supposed to be purifying the place. Now if you can imagine people maybe 2,500 years ago, when they didn't have hot showers or soap or deodorant, you can imagine that incense, almost anything, would purify the air. So it's always considered to be like a purification. And also the flowers were also like beautiful scent, a beautiful thing to offer to people. Just like you might offer, I hope, flowers to your wife on on her birthday, or to your girlfriend, to sort of turn her on. And I remember just many times offering flowers to my girlfriends, but now people offer flowers to me. See, it's karma, that's how it works out. But the reason we offer flowers, beautiful gifts, it's just a gesture. But also we remember those flowers are just beautiful for a few days and they fade away. Just like us. The beauty of life. Our youth, adolescence, when we're young, we're only beautiful for a while. And then we become ugly again. So just like flowers, that's just an array of things, nothing can stop that, so we just use it as a reflection. But there's one time, and this is typical of Buddhism, this is straight from the word of the Buddha. At the end of the Buddha's life, he was saying all these people were offering him all these things like incense and flowers and stuff. He said, look, that's not how you really worship a Buddha, or you pay respect to a Buddha. He said the real way you worship a Buddha is practicing what he taught you to do. Actually following those teachings. He said that's the best way you can pay worship to a Buddha or to any teacher